through expansion. Then now here comes the Kabale International Airport, which is coming as well to be part of Uganda's aviation sector. Booming of the aviation sector there. Remember, even the Uganda Airlines is back to its wings. So our aviation sector is steadily growing and steadily recovering to where we want it. Let's have more from this news update.
The construction works being undertaken by SBC Uganda Limited began in 2018 and were due to end in April 2022 for the first phase. The first phase is to handle cargo planes. The onset of COVID-19 and unskilled local people not in knowledge of the project slowed down the works, says the SBS spokesperson. The first phase of the project is expected to pave importation of the heavy equipment, materials and machinery by the oil and gas companies, which are currently in the initial stage of developing their own project and later expand it to attract tourism.
The extreme end is the refinery area. Down here is the pump station 1, where all the crude oil in Uganda will first be gathered, part of it directed to the refinery to be refined, then the remaining exported through the ECOP. It is also going to start from somewhere here. Then this side is the industrial park. The industrial park is meant to make the airport busy after the construction of these heavy industries. Look, we said that the airport purposely here is to airlift the equipments to be used in the construction of these heavy industries. But this is something timely. The construction will end. Now, the government of Uganda thought it wise again to bring the industrial park here, so that after the construction of these heavy industries, now the airport will be busy in the exports and imports within the industrial park. Industries are going to be set up here. They will make the airport busy. Now, the other part is the social infrastructure. Shopping malls, as he was saying, shopping malls, health centers, technical colleges, accommodation, recreation centers, and the rest of it. So the airport is just in the middle of the 29.57 square kilometers that was procured by the government of Uganda, and it relocated the occupants, and it was gazetted for the oil and gas industry and activities.
Construction of the runway, which is 3.5 kilometers long and 45 meters wide, is 95% complete. Cargo terminal buildings, the limited capacity passenger terminal building, the air rescue, firefighting house, power substation house, and the air-ground lighting system are all between 78% complete. The Uganda National Oil Company, that's UNOC, oversees the works of all these oil companies and to know how oil will be transported to different locations, especially on their midstream.
But the midstream, where which is associated with the transportation, and when you talk about transportation, we are basically looking at the East African crude oil pipeline, which will transport Uganda's crude from Kabale, where we are, to Tanzania for export to the international market. And then we have got refinery within the midstream segment, and the refinery will be constructed within Kabale Industrial Park. And then we have got what we call
the airport is designed to handle the largest cargo planes in the industry currently, and according to SBC, the apron can host 4 of such aircraft at once. The next 9 months will also see the construction of housing for airport operators and the control tower start and complete. But there is fear that hundreds of Ugandans, including a good number of those from the local communities, will soon lose employment as the project comes to an end. Of more than 1,000 workers, about 95% are Ugandans who will be released.
Construction, when you are starting a project, you mobilize the sites, equipments, the manpower, because you are going to do some work. When you reach a certain percentage, now you think of demobilizing. Now we are demobilizing. But in our procedure and policies of demobilizing, we are sensitizing our workers and telling them that, please look here, the work is about to finish. But now that you have gained the skills, look at these other projects which are coming.
After 4 years of participating in the airport construction project, it is expected that the workers have developed enough capacity to take up opportunities in other projects, whether they are private or government-owned.
And right, when you look at that situations coming in from there of the Kabale International Airport, like I said, with our situations as a country who have been actually serving one airport for now, which has actually been dealing with the aviation sector of imports, exports, transportation, and all that. Now, when we have another one coming into the picture, you can agree that one, aviation sector is going to grow bigger. Then we're going to be having competitive advantage on in the region. Because when you're competing with countries like Kenya, who already have two airports, there's the Jomo Kenyatta Airport in Nairobi, then they have the other airport in Mombasa. Now you're looking at Dar es Salaam, who have two airports as well, rather Tanzania, Dar es Salaam and Dodoma. So, well, Uganda also having two airports, it's actually showing you that we are competing already and making this is more of a competitive advantage for one, importation, transportation, and the exportation of goods by air, and then transportation by air, and then also the employment opportunities, which is also very, very crucial there. When we talk about employment opportunities, one, you would still say with the employment opportunities here, most probably is because there are a lot of Ugandans that will be employed to the airport, others that will be employed in that sector there to work as cabin crews or to actually help in let's say the tickets and all that, people who are actually heading out of the country, and then also situations to do with let's say people who are actually going for tourism, with the Western Uganda being very rich in terms of natural resources and attracting a number of tourists into Hioma, and then the whole area, and maybe take a flight to Entebbe, get into the central region as well, as they continue going to the eastern part of Uganda to continue touring the country. So when you have an airport, a lot of sectors are improved. The economy is a sharp one that actually has to improve, because almost all the sectors here of the economy are already attached: tourism, employment, look at, say, marketing, market space, and quite a number, and a number of things that you cannot actually go without touching. So with this, which it becomes Uganda's second international airport, currently under construction, and in 9 months' time, according to the contractors, it will be ready to actually flag off. And of course, definitely the fountain of honor, president of the country, will definitely be the man to actually flag this off and open it officially for use, and open it up for the wider space, or for the international air or the aviation space, so that at least airports, or so that at least we can have crafts coming into the country, others leaving through that. So we shall have two airports at the same time, and then managing different destinations for Ugandans who are going there. And when you look at the impact of the airports in Uganda, and we've been having a very huge challenge with the fact that the Entebbe International Airport is now undergoing extension projects right now. A number of factors have actually been delaying, reason being that some people actually there are some terminals that were not being used because they were going under expansion, which was actually providing a tedious work for those who are there, and for also creating some difficulties for those who are traveling out and in of the country. So to avoid such inconveniences, when you have two airports, at least that will manage those who will be moving in and moving out. Maybe you can as well have one that will at least be managing the major imports or exports for the country. Okay, still with the SMB news updates, let's look at the BIJAGALI tax incentives. This time around, SEATINI Uganda has come out to reveal that less returns were forecasted by the civil society organization. Following the proposal, which was made by the Office of the Junior Minister of Finance, civil society organizations under the Tax Justice Alliance Uganda asked government to audit the BIJAGALI dam tax incentives before they are given another 5-year tax exemption. This is because of the losses it has incurred in the past. And here, when you look at that, according to SEATINI, there was less returns that were forecasted by the civil society organization. Let's check out this update.
In 2016, the Ugandan government waived a corporate income tax of at least 96 billion Ugandan shillings per year. This was intended to extend the tenure of loans on BIJAGALI and inject in new debt and equity as it seeks to reduce the price of electricity produced by the hydropower project. The BIJAGALI power station is a 250 megawatts hydropower station across the Victoria Nile that enhances energy. However, it is unclear whether there has been any significant benefit to the Ugandans through the tariff controls. The country director at SEATINI expounded more on this.
A call for an audit regarding the BIJAGALI tax exemption. Because you see, government proposed that the BIJAGALI tax exemption be extended for another 5 years to 2027. And when we look at the losses, the revenue foregone because of BIJAGALI from 2018, the financial year 2018-19, the loss of the revenue foregone on BIJAGALI was 108 billion. 2019-2020, it was 100 billion. 2020-2021, it was 90.7 billion as revenue foregone on BIJAGALI. Now they want to extend it to 2027. But why is government extending these exemptions? Because you see, government should be able to tell us that because of these advantages, we want the exemptions extended. But there is no such such explanation. It's just a blanket extend up to 2027. So that's why a number of civil society organizations are calling for an audit. And in fact, what we are saying is that we need an audit, not just for BIJAGALI tax exemption.
She added that the government should address the concerns of the energy sector.
That's why I think it's important because we're asking ourselves, why should BIJAGALI be given a tax exemptions? Are we looking at generating more electricity when we have surplus, or should government address the bottlenecks in transmission and distribution? So that's why I'm saying let government look at the entire energy sector. Where are the challenges? Where are the bottlenecks? Is it in generation? Because I remember, for example, in 2005, there was a challenge in generation. But I think we have moved from that level to looking at how we can be able to stimulate production, how we can be able to use that electricity to be able to industrialize and also live a good life. Not so many people can afford electricity, by the way. And that's why most people are using charcoal and firewood. We can't, even in Kampala here. Look at the cars coming from the villages. All the pickups on top, charcoal. And what is that doing to our environment, climate change?
When asked, she had this to say.
If it's still up, it's because of that unbundling, that government is paying for the surplus, which we don't even use. And the payment is paid for by the final consumer, you and me. And also these exemptions, like I said, a company is given an exemption, who pays?
Rona Nahabwe, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
All right, and that is it from Rona Nahabwe, giving us more from the details regarding the BIJAGALI tax incentives. Well, and strictly, when you look at here, in 2016, the Ugandan government waived corporate income tax of at least 96 billion Ugandan shillings. Now, that is approximately $28 million per year. And this was to extend the tenure of loans on the BIJAGALI project and inject new debt and equity as it seeks to reduce the price of electricity produced by the hydropower project. That is according to the sources. The BIJAGALI power station is a 250 megawatts hydroelectric power station across the Victorian Isle that has actually been harnessing the energy sector in Uganda. However, it is unclear whether there has been any significant benefit to most of the Ugandans from that angle through the tariff control. And the country, as a country, we still want to understand more from that situation. But following the proposal that was made by the Office of the Junior Minister, Civil Society Organization under the Tax Justice Alliance Uganda asked government to audit the BIJAGALI dam tax incentive before they are given another 5-year tax exemption. So they need to first audit it. Like I was telling you, with this month that we're actually in currently, these few weeks, we're into these weeks of auditing. And keeping the auditing is only to give accountability, mainly, before you're given a contract. And for government contracts, there is always going to be an audit if at all you've once received the contract, at least so that government can see how did you fare with the previous one. The previous contract, the previous contract that you were given put into good use. Are you able to account for it, or you're just going to continue to actually seek for the money without actually accounting for the previous one that you definitely had? So when you look at that still, that is where the argument is actually growing in from, and that is where most probably everyone is from the civil society organization is asking for at least that the government should audit the BIJAGALI dam incentive before they are given another 5-year tax exemption. A tax exemption of 5 years is, if you are an investor, you would definitely seek for it. But then if at all you are not giving accountability for the previous one and how it fared for you, it doesn't come easy. Okay, and that is it for the SMB news updates. After the break, meanwhile, we've got 2 topics of discussion here, and one of which is taking us to conservation, mapping of water resources, its impact on the sustainability development of the country, and then we're also going to be looking at water quality conservation in Uganda. How safe can we conserve the water? And then we as well have the press review coming in after that. So stick around with me this morning. I have it your way. It's still the second hour of the show, and I'm here to guide you through smart means business. It's a good morning indeed. Grab yourself a cup of coffee. I'm taking some water today, and maybe later on, even a cup of tea can do for you. Good morning. I take a break. When I do return, I have more SNB topics coming up as we discuss mapping water resources, like I said, water quality conservation, and the press review, among others.